Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of My Collecting Journey, the series where I talk about my journey in collecting things, specifically movie related things, and today we are going to be looking at the 25th Anniversary Collector's Edition Blu-ray of Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. Now one thing I want to stress, for a few of you out there, I know there are probably some of you out there that are already aware of this, but just to clarify for those of you that don't know, this is not a brand new release. If anything, I think the movie this year is celebrating its 30th anniversary, not its 25th. So this is a few years old, but it is a special edition version of a Blu-ray that I own, so I thought this would be a good one to talk about at some point in this series, and here I am talking about it today. When it comes to Martin Scorsese's filmography, I think Goodfellas is definitely one of his better made movies, but when it comes to my personal favourites, it's probably just shy of the top three. I would say my personal favourites are, I think my favourite is The Wolf of Wall Street, then very, very close behind it is The Departed, and then after that is either Taxi Driver or The King of Comedy. This is probably fourth though. And it is a really good film. I just do think it could be a little bit shorter. I haven't seen it for a few years though, so I could do with a bit of a rewatch. But yeah, I've loved this specific version of the Blu-ray that I have for it. I've loved it ever since I first got it for my birthday a few years back. It's both a simple box, but it's also a really effective one. The image on the front is iconic, and I love the presentation of it. It's like a matte feel to the whole thing. And it's just, again, really simplistic, but I really like it. If you take this out, you get a load of, well, not a load of, but you get more things in it than you're really expecting. You get this letter from Martin Scorsese about the making of the film and why this film means so much to him. You also get this incredibly nicely printed booklet, which I think, let me see, it contains trivia on the film, as well as images from the film and quotes from the movie as well. Like this. What else we got? It is really nicely printed, especially for such a trivial little thing in a box like this, in a a collector's edition like this. It is really nicely printed. Because you've also got like the front and back of it has a matte, like a silky feel to it, but the inside is nicely printed card. So that's a nice little, But yeah, this is a fascinating little book that I have read multiple times. Like every time I sit down to watch this movie, I open this booklet up and give it a little read. And it doesn't help the viewing experience, but I just like reading it. It's a little bit like the booklet that comes with the Before trilogy. It's not it's not necessary to read it, but it's a nice little bonus to look at whilst you have the movie on, or just before you're about to, sink your teeth into the film again. But this is a really nice one. I might actually prefer this booklet to the one in the Before trilogy, just because of how nicely it is printed, and also the, I don't know if you can see that, but the Goodfellas logo is slightly embossed. I just have a thing for embossed stuff. It just feels really nice. The Blu-ray itself, nothing special. It's a bog standard Blu-ray case. You crack it open and you have the movie on one disc and special features on the other, and there are a shitload of special features on the other disc. Probably as much, or just as many special features that you'd probably get on a Criterion Blu-ray. But yeah, I really like this box set. Well, it's not really a box set. I just like this Blu-ray, I guess. It's one that even though Goodfellas isn't like it's a great film. Don't get me wrong, but even though it's not one of my personal favorite Scorsese films, I still find a weird personal attachment to this specific collector's edition. Like I said, I love the film. Don't get me wrong; it is a great movie. I mean, it's Scorsese. It's well made in every single aspect, but considering it's not one of my, top 3 Scorsese films, I still love the way this whole thing is presented. From the box to the little booklet you get, even to the little letter you get from Scorsese himself. It's just all such a very personal touch to a movie that you can tell had a lot of love in it from Scorsese himself, right from the word go. If you haven't seen Goodfellas, what are you doing? It's a classic. Go and watch it. And yes, I would highly recommend, if this is still available, go and get this version of the film. You can get the standard edition version of it, just the regular Blu-ray. But I do feel like this has a bit more weight to it, both personal attachment and literally. But yeah, there's not really much else I can say about this. It's a very nicely presented anniversary edition of this classic film. I can see why a lot of people regard this as one of the best films ever made, up there with the likes of The Godfather, etc. And yeah, it's really nice, really well presented collector's edition box for a brilliant little film. And yeah, I do hope they do that for other Scorsese films in the future, because I know there's like God knows how many different versions of Taxi Driver on Blu-ray. There's the Sony Classics version, which is the version that I have. There's also a version of the film on Blu-ray that looks a little bit like this in terms of presentation. But yeah, I do hope they do that with other Scorsese films. Like, I'd love to see them do it with either Raging Bull or even The King of Comedy, because I don't think The King of Comedy gets that much love. Like, it's gained the reputation it deserves now. But I do feel like, in terms of it being released, at the moment you can just get a bog standard Blu-ray of it, and I feel like, considering the legacy that movie has left, and the movies that it's inspired, like last year's Joker, I feel like a special edition, collector's edition version of The King of Comedy would be well received by the community, including myself, because I would love to see that. But yeah, really nice Blu-ray. I've loved it ever since I got it, and yeah, don't really have much else to say. The film is brilliant. Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro are all fantastic in the movie. The soundtrack is great. Some absolutely iconic scenes throughout the film. Yeah, it's Goodfellas. What else do I have to say? It's a brilliant movie. One of Scorsese's best made films. Just scrapes the top 3 for me. The Wolf of Wall Street and The Departed are still 2 of my all-time favourite Scorsese films. But yeah, this is definitely one that I highly recommend you get, especially if you're someone that is looking to get into Scorsese's filmography a little bit more. This is definitely a good one to get. If you can get the bog standard Goodfellas Blu-ray, that's fine for the purpose. But if this is one that you treasure dearly and one of your favorite Scorsese films, then this definitely does it justice. So guys, that was me talking about the 25th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray of Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye.